coverage of the Suzuki International Series is brought to you by Suzuki. Welcome back to part 2 of our coverage of the third and final round of the Suzuki Series from the Cemetery Circuit in Wanganui. There was real drama in round 1 of the F2 600cc racing. Off the line, it was Wanganui's favourite son, Richie Dibbin, on his total span Suzuki, followed by Adam Chambers on another Suzuki. Coming to the end of the race, Carl Cox Motorsports' Toby Summers made the pass for the lead as the field headed through the Suzuki crossing into the S's. Unbeknownst to the race leaders, Tarbin Walker had crashed heavily in the same spot just behind them. This brought out the red flag.
I managed to slide past Richie, and then the last lap flag come out and snuck up the inside of Chambers, and then I thought, okay, home and hosed. Come round, someone was under the tyre wall, under the airbags, and they red flagged it, which little bit annoyed, but that's just racing, and that's the 600s. We've had so many red flags in this series and the Nationals last year, but you know, we'll try harder in the next one and put the Carl Cox Motorsport ZX6 back where it should be.
This meant that the race win would go to this man, Adam Chambers, on the Barnes Jenkins Suzuki. Second place, Toby Summers, and in third, Richie Dibbin. Avalon Biddle was making her debut this year at the Cemetery Circuit at Wanganui as part of the third and final round of the Suzuki International Series. Watch for number 22. He set the Carl Cox Motorsport Kawasaki on pole position. That's him down the inside. Great start too coming from number 4, and that is Ashton Hughes. Second in points going in, and the 15 there as well, and that is Rogan Chandler out of Upper Hutt, and he was the points leader going into the racing here today at Wanganui. It is the 22 though of Summers out in the front. 119, Richie Dibbin in second place, doing double duty today. You'll see him in the Supermoto racing as well. Then we'd go back to Ashton Hughes from Palmerston North these days. Tarbin Walker back in the field. Just got a glimpse of the red fairing of Walker. There he is, the 21. Adam Chambers just trying to get around him as they go through the trade zone Robert Holden Memorial Corner and up into the trade zone turn down towards the Hooker Transport curves now. Just look at the attitude of the bikes as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge for the first of 10 times. This is the second and final race for the F2. It's brought to you by Aponi Oils, 100% motorcycle oils. Toby Summers, the race leader, heading down into the Mars Pet Care turn and then out along the Sharp as long haul straight. This is probably the fastest part of the circuit here at Wanganui. This 1.6 kilometre circuit, 1 mile in the old language, up through the S's they go, under the Emmets Pedestrian Bridge, down toward the Heads Cemetery. You're on board here with Rogan Chandler. 6 points was his advantage coming in on the Blue Crew Yamaha. It's Ashton Hughes just ahead of him. Hughes was second, Toby Summers was third. Now, is that going to change? Because in race number 1, Rogan Chandler, who we ride with here, finished 4th. Toby Summers finished second, so he picked up a few points. Ashton Hughes was a little further down through the field. Down the TSS Red Baron front straight in front of the big crowd here at Wanganui. Down the inside, the last of the late breakers is young Rogan Chandler from Upper Hutt. Another racer of New Zealand that's been quite a bit of time in Australia in the off-season. Racing in the 300 production class, the Yamaha 300 production class, and also doing a little bit of 600cc racing. Richie Dibbin, the man in second place, he did the same thing, but on a 600cc machine, and that's why his talents on board the 600 bike has come on and leaps and bounds. Toby Summers and Richie Dibbin, well, they're turning the clock back here at Wanganui because they would have battled long and hard back in the days of Supermoto. This is Adam Chambers, accredited with the win in race 1 after it was red flag. Now, the reason for that is we go back to the last fully recorded lap, and on that last fully recorded lap before the red came out, this man, Adam Chambers, was in the front. There he is, 64, the Barnes Jenkins Suzuki of Adam Chambers out of the Hawke's Bay. Ashton Hughes in behind him, then it's Rogan Chandler. This is a battle for the minors, 3rd, 4th and 5th. This is what's happening at the front of the field though. There is the 64 of Chambers. Rode the 1000cc superbike machines for a while, but it's always been fast on a 600, especially here at Wanganui. Back on board with him as we work down into the Robert Holden corner. Wanganui Trade Zone, Robert Holden Memorial turn Robert Holden, as we told you, lost his life in the Isle of Man, but the winningest rider ever in the history of the cemetery circuit. He's won on just about every class there is a motorcycle for. Chambers over the Bridgestone Bridge, back on board here with Chandler, getting a little bit closer now to Ashton Hughes. Hughes on the Triumph 675 Daytona. The 15 of Chandler, that's the Blue Crew Yamaha. So he is getting a little bit closer here to Ashton Hughes as they head through the Mars Pet Care turn and back out onto Taupo Key, the Sharp As long haul straight. Over the infamous railway track they will go through the crossing by Suzuki headquarters here. Number 23 is Jordan Burley, and right beside him is number 21, and that is Tarbin Walker. Tarbin Walker is the rider that crashed in race number 1 and brought out the red flag. Behind them, number 1. She is the champion of the sports production class in New Zealand, and that is Avalon Biddle. You ride with her here. Avalon making her debut here at Wanganui. We go back to this enthralling battle for the minors, and Chandler once again, he could just about reach out and touch Ashton Hughes as they come over the start-finish line. Now he drives down the inside, and I don't think Hughes has got an answer for it this time. Through turn 1 they go, and we've got a new 3rd place, and it is make it a 4th place, and it is Rogan Chandler. So, will this be enough to garner him his first ever title in the Suzuki International Series? As I said, he was the points leader coming in. 4th in race number 1. 4th again here. Back on board. Heading past a big crowd lining the Head Cemetery as they come into the Robert Holden Memorial Corner once again. Now just behind Rogan it would be Ashton Hughes, 2nd in the points going in. There he is, bike number 4. You're riding here with Avalon Biddle. She's currently sitting in 8th place. Just up ahead of her, Tarbin Walker and Jordan Burley on the 23 on the Suzuki. We'll get to them very shortly. But there is Av with the big number 1 on the plate. Number X is another one of our international visitors. This is Xavier Denis from France. And these guys, or this girl and guy, battling over 8th and 9th position as they head down into turn number 1, the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. On board here with Avalon. Well, she's done such a lot in her fairly short career in motorcycling. Started off in bucket racing, a little bit of a flirtation with motocross, dirt racing, but then it was bucket racing, then it was 125 GPs, and then she hasn't looked back since she's been on the 600 machine. She's competed in on an Italian bike in Moto 3 and Moto GP levels, so she really has packed in a lot of racing, his young Avalon Biddle. Originally from Orewa, north of Auckland, now living with her fiancé, Jake Lewis, in Rangiora. And there she is, and Xavier Denis getting a little bit closer. Our Frenchman back with Avalon as they head down the TSS Red Baron Straight. So we're getting down to the end of this one as we go back on board here with Rogan Chandler. There he is on the Blue Crew Yamaha. And I just wonder if he's done enough here to clinch the title in the F2s, brought to you by iPony Oils. Rogan Chandler rides up towards the Robert Holden Memorial. Meantime, across the top of the Bridgestone Bridge comes the race leader, and this is Toby Summers. 119, Richie Dibbin chasing him, but I think he's going to run out of real estate here as they're on the last lap this time. You're on board with Toby Summers, the Auckland plumber, working his way through the Mars Pet Care turn and down Taupo Key for the last time. The man behind him, number 119, Richie Dibbin, well, he's a local, he's a Wanganui boy, so he'll have a huge cheering section as he tries to chase down Summers. Summers currently 3rd in the points in the iPony Formula 2 class after 2 hard-fought rounds and then the finale here at Wanganui. We started in Taupo, then we went to Manfield, and here we are at the infamous cemetery circuit. Couple of corners left in it, and Toby Summers is going to claim the win in this. Fingers crossed there is no red flags to deny him. That's exactly what happened in race number 1. You're on board as he flashes over the Bridgestone overbridge and heads down to the checkered flag. Toby Summers wins race number 2 of Formula 2 here at the cemetery circuit in Wanganui. In 2nd place it will be Richie Dibbin, the local, and in 3rd place it's Hawke's Bay's Adam Chambers. 4th place will go to Rogan Chandler, and that will be enough for him to clinch the F2 series for 2019.
Had some good results today. Really good fun racing around the cemetery circuit. It's been an emotional day for me. You know, not sure that I'm going to be doing any more racing in the near or distant future. Yeah, it's been cool just to wear the Carl Cox shirt and ride for such a legend like Carl Cox. hopefully he's seen that race and he'll be happy with the win.
After a few years of trying, the F2 win goes to Upper Hutt's Rogan Chandler.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. It's my first title on the 600, and yeah, I've been in the class. This is my 3rd year now, so, and I got a big crew around me, so it's cool to finally get something done.
Plenty more to come here from Wanganui, including Supermoto, when we come back. The start of the first Aramac Supermoto race was an all-Wanganui affair. At the front, points leader Richie Dibbon, number 119, 13 Scott Dowman, and in 3rd, Mr Supermoto. The Unwhittling started this class years ago on a Kawasaki motocrosser racing in Formula 3. Craig Cudge Scott, number 62, on the Honda. Before long, status quo had been resumed, and it was Dibbon who was clearing out in front. Dowman still in 2nd, and Scott hanging on to 3rd place from Nick Payne, number 151. By checkered flag time, it was a now familiar sight of Richie Dibbon taking another win and getting closer to clinch the Moto title again. Heading from the dummy grid, Richie Dibbon really had to only finish to clinch the title here in 2019. Off the line, it was again Scott Dowman on the Honda in the front. Great start to Vet's New Zealand motocross champion Mitch Rowe on his new Husqvarna machine, number 007, with Dibbon doing all he had to do, sitting in 2nd place. Dowman held the lead going down Taupo Key. Coming towards the Robert Holden turn, Dibbon pounced. Dowman had no answer, and once again, Dibbon had hit the front. A titanic battle had developed behind the leaders, Rowe holding out Craig Scott before the man who supervises the construction of this amazing circuit overshot turn 1. Again, it was the unbeatable Richie Dibbon taking the win and the series by 45 points from Russell Josiah and James Clark.
Yeah, no, just having fun out there, and I've been on them a fair few years now, so I know like back in my hand. So yeah, just enjoying it, and yeah, putting in the laps and a bit of a show for the crowd, and yeah, it's good fun.
Probably qualify for the Robert Holden on this as well as the 600.
Yeah, probably do pretty quick times around here on this, and you know, just a motocross bike, it handles all the bumps and whatnot, and it's good fun. I do enjoy it, and but yeah, get some good pace out of it. So.
Building future champions was the slogan for the Gixxer Cup when it started back in 2017, and nothing's changed in 2019. Along with the tweaking of some of the age restriction rules, Suzuki have added in a mentoring role with Dennis Charlotte, Soane Frost, Dan Metham, and 9 times New Zealand champion Andrew Stroud. He shared his thoughts.
Corner speed's about the same, just acceleration's miles different. Yeah, these have got maybe 14 horsepower, and the Superbike's got 200 horsepower. There's quite a difference there, but for learning racecraft and things, you can't beat this class, really. It's like a Moto 3 championship.
It's Andrew's young son Jesse that leads the championship heading into Wanganui. Winning is great, but the real buzz is racing with your dad, or in Andrew's case, your son.
That's the coolest part about it. Yeah, coming up behind Jesse, and he looks around and sees me, and then, you know, then he disappears towards the front, where I'm just hanging on the back of the group. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so much fun. Love being out there racing with him. And yeah, it's great. See him come up and pass me, beat me yesterday, so it's good bit of banter. But yeah, just love it. He's out there, he gives me plenty of room, which is good. So yeah, real excited for Wanganui, looking real forward to it. Love racing there. And yeah, just good to get Manfred out of the way, bit scary, so a lot of passing, you can end up whatever place, so I thought it was a real cool weekend.
These small 150cc powered machines have again taken the Suzuki International Series by storm, providing easily the closest racing seen in a year. Putting all of the 15 horsepower to the ground the best was number 4 Zach Fuller from Taupri, but coming over from the outside, points leader and defending champion Jesse Stroud. This is what we mean by close racing, a large blanket covering the field. Before long, it had become a two-horse race, quite unusual in this class, between Stroud on the 1 and Fuller on the 4. Even though he slipstreamed him all the way to the finish line, Zach Fuller would have to settle for second, with Jesse Stroud drawing first blood and taking the win on the Gixxer. Race 2 hadn't gone too far before this. A red flag came out and the race was aborted. On the restart, it was again Fuller and Stroud to the 4. Shane Miller through turn 1 in third place. With Stroud in front on Taupo Key, the drafting began in earnest. The red flag would make another appearance and cut the race short by 2 laps. Zach Fuller declared the winner. The Formula 3 class, brought to you by Bike Talk Taumarunui, is the biggest class we've had in the Suzuki International Series. And watch for the number 45, that's Lee Tidman on the little Yamaha. He is the points leader. 80, Zach Fuller, who we've just seen racing in the Gixxers. He tries to get around the outside of him. And watch 2 for number X, and that is Xavier Dennis from France. He's riding 2 classes today in Wanganui. He's riding the F2s and also a Kawasaki 650 in this, the F3. It is Lee Tidman, though, that leads them across the railway line through the Suzuki crossing and up toward the Emmets Bridge for the first time. He is the defending champion in the Suzuki Series. You may cast your mind back to last year when Jacob Stroud threw his championship chances away on the Mars Pet Care turn on, I think, the last lap of the last race. And he was pretty frustrated, to say the least. He is in the field riding bike number 17. So keep an eye out for Jacob Stroud. So the 4 of them, it is the 45 of Tidman and is the X of Denise, and then it is Zach Fuller, and then it would be Stephen Bridge out of Narrawahia on the Ducati, and then I think you'd find it's number 17 of Jacob Stroud. Well, these little Formula 3 machines, this one in particular, powered by a YZ450 Yamaha engine, but slotted into an RS125 Honda 2-stroke Grand Prix bike frame, have really ruled the roost here in Formula 3 for quite so many years. Scott Moyer raced a bike very similar to this. So too did Jason Easton going back in the day. Oh, problems here for the Frenchman. He puts his hand up. That's a mechanical issue for Xavier Denise, so he's not going to go too much further. We zoom in on Zach Fuller out of Taupri. There is Stephen Bridge, and there is the man that eventually finished second in the Suzuki Series last year in Formula 3, and that is Jacob Stroud, son of 9 times New Zealand Superbike champion Andrew. So just see him tagging onto the back of this front bunch. In behind him, it would be Nick Kampenhout on the 196, and then Carl Hooper, and the man that's currently third in the points on the Gavin Veltmeyer Suzuki, and that is Matt Dunlop, number 81. You just see him in the back of the shot. This is Jacob Stroud as they work their way through the Suzuki crossing and up towards the Emmets pedestrian bridge. Jacob, another one of New Zealand's top riders who's spent a lot of time in the New Zealand off-season overseas, raced up in Europe, raced in the United States as well. So Jacob kind of the flag bearer for the Stroud family in their racing, of course, but now Jesse just crowned the Gixxer Cup champion here in the Suzuki International Series. We zoom in on Stephen Bridge from Narrawahia, the F1 Engineering Motorcycle Centre Ducati number 294. Ahead of him, number 80, that's Zach Fuller. He's another one that started in the Gixxer Cup a couple of years ago, but now branching out, racing in 2 classes this weekend at Wanganui. Currently sitting in second place, Lee Tidman just starting to get away. Lee Tidman from Taumarunui, Stephen Bridge, we mentioned from Narrawahia. There he is, just trying to stay with Fuller as they work down the versatile building straight down towards the Robert Holden corner once again. Always oversubscribed the Formula 3 class. In fact, there was a waiting list of 20 people looking to get entries, and they couldn't because of the grid size rules around the Taupo circuit and also Manfield. Bike Talk Tamaranui bring it to you, and 17, Jacob Stroud. Well, he's got a bit of work to do if he wants to win this one. Currently sitting back in 4th spot. Lee Tidman just starting to get away. There's Tidman coming out of the Mars Pet Care turn. Zach Fuller through in 2nd place, then it's Stephen Bridge. There is a very complicated formula of rules for Formula 3. There are certain CC capacities in single-cylinder engines and multi-cylinder engines. You'll see a few GSXR 600s, but they virtually bank off one cylinder. So they're only really 3-cylinder machines. And I know Chris Osborne, who is Avalon Biddle's engineer, was one of the early pace setters and early flag bearers of that technical development. 45, Tidman, well, he's gone the other way. He's put a little 125 Honda GP frame to use with a YZ450 Yamaha engine in it, and it's working out for him. As I said, he's the defending champion. He's currently the points leader going in. There is Zach Fuller. Xavier Dennis was 2nd in the points, but of course he's now a DNF because he had a mechanical issue in the early going of this racing, and that should have handed a higher podium spot to bike number 81, and that is Matt Dunlop. And Matt Dunlop being engineered and helped by Gavin Veltmeyer, who absolutely ruled the roost in Formula 3 for quite a few years. So there is Fuller, currently sitting in 2nd place. It doesn't look like Stephen Bridge can make much of a dent on his lead at the moment, and the same can be said for Zach Fuller, because Lee Tidman's just starting to stretch away. The man from Tamaranui, sponsored by Gillison Contracting. This class really triumphs the Kiwi ingenuity, the number 8 wire mentality of New Zealand engineers, because there is all sorts of amazing constructions here. If we have a look there for Carl Hooper on the 28. Nick Kumpenhout is on the Husqvarna machine. He's currently in 5th place. So he's chasing down Jacob Stroud. Already the front runner's starting to get up into the lap traffic here at Wanganui. The lap just a fraction over a mile long. Doesn't take these guys too long to get around. They're in about the 52, 53 second bracket. And you can appreciate lots of different power and lots of different power characteristics. So as they go through the lap traffic, this is come into the hands of Zach Fuller and also Stephen Bridge. So they've closed up on Tidman as the laps wind down. White flag out, 1 to go now. Lee Tidman's got a bit of a fight on his hands here, because now there is a lap rider in behind him, but then it is Zach Fuller. Zach Fuller disposes of the lap rider. Now he will be looking for the number 1 spot, and Bridge is right there as well, and I would suggest that Bridge has probably got a horsepower advantage over the 2 bikes in front of him. Tidman leads through the Suzuki crossing. Here comes the attack from Fuller. He tries to drive up around the outside. That was the spot where Mitch Rees put the pass on Richard Cooper in the Formula 1. That's still to come here at Wanganui, but we watch this enthralling battle. It's taken a while to develop, but it is on for young and old now. Lee Tidman leads it. This to clinch the title for 2 years in a row for the man from Tamaranui, but is he going to be able to do it? Here comes the charge from Taupri Zach Fuller as they head up over the Bridgestone Bridge for the last time. It's going to be a little too late for Fuller, I would think, and Tidman will carry the day. Zach Fuller goes across the line in 2nd place, and then it would be Stephen Bridge in 3rd. In 4th place would be Jacob Stroud, and in 5th, Nick Kampenhout. So Lee Tidman will have done enough to clinch the series title. Still more to come here at Wanganui. We've got the F1 and, of course, the Robert Holden Memorial to look out for. Welcome back to the streets of Wanganui. It's the 3rd and final round of the Suzuki International Series, and this is what the big crowds come to see. This is Formula 1. Brought to you by Reacher Clothing, motorcycle clothing. There is the man of the moment. This is Richard Cooper. He had a very slender points lead going in. 62, the one that's drawn first blood in Formula 1. That's Mitch Rees. Watch 2 for number 92 on the black Rees motorcycle, Carl Cox Honda. That is Damon Rees. Oh, threading the needle between Lee Johnson and Mitch Rees was Richard Cooper. So Cooper will go into the front. We're on the board here with Jaden Carrick out of Wanganui. Just up ahead of him, it's the number 2. Here's the 2-time defending Suzuki Series champion, and that is Scott Moyer from Taupo. But it's Cooper in the front. started with the Sloane Frost Suzuki on pole position, and Mitch Rees goes past him, and that's exactly the same spot that he passed him in the first Formula One race. So Mitch Rees is on fire here on the 62, the Honda 1000, the Tony Rees Motorcycles Honda Driver Insurance's bike. In second place now, it's Richard Cooper. Cooper doesn't have to do that much. He's probably looking to secure the win here for his sponsor in his New Zealand visit, and that is Sloane Frost Motorsport. But it is Cooper on the sea. We're back on board here with Jaden Carrick. He's had a mixed bag in the Suzuki International Series this time round. Another one, son of Wanganui, that got his start in Supermoto racing, moved on to the 600s, but now is in the, I should say, the Wanganui Toyota Kawasaki 1000, the ZX10. There is Mitch Rees, son of a famous father in Tony. Tony has won the Robert Holden Memorial 7 times. I know that both Mitch and Damo would love to replicate what their dad's done. Tony is the mentor these days, although he's getting over some pretty horrific injuries from a crash earlier on at Pukekohe. You're on board here with Damon Rees. Just ahead of him, Lee Johnson, Isle of Man TT winner, riding the third of the Sloane Frost Motorsport Suzukis. Started life in the Suzuki Series on the M1 Motorsport BMW, but now on the Suzuki. Lee making his second visit to New Zealand. There he is, letter L, very distinctive with the pink helmet. You ride with Damon Rees here as he tries to work over the Northern Irishman as they head down onto the Taupo Quay once again. Well, judging by that shot, it looks like Richard Cooper getting a little bit closer to Mitch Rees. There is Lee Johnson. You're back on board here with Daniel Medham. He is the current New Zealand Superbike champion, recovering from all sorts of serious injuries when he raced up in the Northern Hemisphere in our off-season, but now getting back to his very best on the Coleman Suzuki. Daniel Medham, another one that always goes well here around the cemetery circuit. Back on board here with Damon Rees on the big Honda Fireblade. Ahead of him, Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson here a couple of years ago, and back this time, as I said, with M1 Motorsport and the BMW, but now on the Sloane Frost Suzuki. I can tell you that unfortunately Sloane's Suzuki too badly damaged, so he's not a starter in this, the second of the Formula One races. Daniel Medham is our camera bike as we go back to the front of the field here. 62, Mitch Rees. Right in behind him now, Richard Cooper. Cooper getting a little bit closer. Well, he's had his pocket picked on that very corner as they work their way into the S's. It happened before. It's happened again. You're on board here with Damon Rees, currently sitting in third place. But the first two starting to get away from him a little bit as he works his way down the trade zone straight into the trade zone corner through the Hooker Transport curves and heading up towards the Bridgestone overbridge. That's pretty near a lap here at Wanganui. Mitch Rees, boy, he's done nothing wrong. He qualified on pole. He won the first race. He came perilously close to taking the lap record. In fact, he did take the lap record on the last lap of the race, and these guys are running on lap record pace now. Jaden Carrick gets very close to the hay bales as we ride with him here down Taupo Quay once more, and this is the Sharp As long haul straight. So this field's starting to bunch up just a little bit. Look at Cooper, he's just been working away. He's been watching the lines that Rees has been taking. He's been taking slightly different lines. Here's a man that sits in third place at the moment. This is Damon Rees. Into the trade zone corner he goes. There is the C of Richard Cooper. You see how he tries slightly different lines to what Mitch Rees is doing. It's not about following, it's about racing, and that's what these guys are doing. Number 2. That is Scott Moyer out of Taupo. He's a 2-time defending champion of the Suzuki International Series. Don't think he's going to make it 3 this time. He had a terrible start to the series. He caught a bug off his young son and was very much below par at his home track of Taupo. Jaden Carrick, the Wanganui favourite son, sitting back there in 7th place at the moment. There is Dan Medham. Medham currently sitting in 5th. Just up ahead of him is Scotty Moyer. You're on board here with Medham. 92 is Damon Rees. These guys getting ready for the upcoming New Zealand Superbike Road Racing Championships. There is Medham. So behind them now would be Lee Johnson. This is Damo. Came in with 1 point separating himself from Richard Cooper. But it was this man, 62, that out-qualified all of them. This is Mitch Rees. He won race number 1. He's leading race number 2. You're on board with the leader here as he works his way through the Mars Pet Care turn out onto the Sharp As long haul straight. Cooper trying to get a little bit closer as they work their way towards the Suzuki crossing. This is the part of the circuit where Mitch is faster. This is where he made the pass on Cooper. You see the rest of the field thundering through here. Well, Cooper doesn't look like he's got an answer at the moment. Mitch Rees calling the shots as they head down into Wanganui Trade Zone, Robert Holden Memorial Corner. This 90-degree turn up the short chute, the Trade Zone straight into the Trade Zone curves they come now. On board here with Daniel Mettam on bike number 1. Behind him it's the L, that's Lee Johnson. Then we go back to 2, and that is Scott Moyer from Taupo. Jaden Carrick on the Kawasaki. Got a bit of work to do to catch them, back in 6th or 7th at the moment. We go back to the front of the field. Jaden Carrick coming down the visitwanganui.com straight. Just losing a little bit of touch with those in front of him. This is the fastest area of the circuit here at Wanganui. There is Jaden Carrick on the Wanganui Toyota Gilmore Homes supported Kawasaki ZX10. Under the Emmett's pedestrian bridge he goes. You ride with him here as he heads up Heads Road. The cemetery on his right as he banks it into the 90-degree turn that is the Robert Holden corner. Down the Trade Zone straight he comes. Another 90-degree turn will see him right in the middle of the Hooker Transport curves and heading for the Bridgestone overbridge. These guys have just come over the bridge now, and it's still Mitch Rees out of Whakatane in the front. Rees leading Richard Cooper as they head through the Mars Pet Care turn and out onto the Taupo Quay, sharp as long haul straight. Mitch will be looking to consolidate his position of 3rd in the points in the richer premium European motorcycle apparel sponsored Formula 1. Richard Cooper looking at the back of his bike. You can see he's got a healthy advantage over Damon Rees, and he's getting a little bit closer to his older brother Mitch as they work their way down towards the overbridge once again. Once again, you see the slightly different lines. Cooper on the Suzuki, the Sloan Frost Suzuki, just taking a tighter line and getting a little bit closer to the apex. Is it getting him closer to Mitch Rees? I don't know that it is. 1 lap to go. The white flag is out. Mitch Rees, is he going to make it 2 for 2 in F1 here at Wanganui? Richard Cooper's going to try and deny him. Of course, Cooper is the 2019, the current British Superbike champion in the Superstock class. Up there in the UK, of course, Damon Rees heading up to the UK to run in that very class with Shane Richardson. Richardson is here. He's not riding today. I mentioned it before. No Yamaha Superbikes in the field today, and that was a directive from the Blue Crew. No take it away, though, from Mitch Rees. Got his start way back when in junior motocross, as did his young brother. But, boy, he has come good here on the Superbike. The Rees Motorcycles, Carl Cox Motorsport supported number 62. The Honda of Mitch Rees is going to do it again. He's going to make it 2 for 2 in Formula 1, and there's nothing that Richard Cooper can do about it. He looks behind to see where 3rd place is, and that will be Damon Rees. And behind him, a pretty strong finish for Daniel Mettam and Lee Johnson, but Mitch Rees, who is going to stop him with the Robert Holden still to come? So what is it about Wanganui, mate? Another win in F1?
Oh, yeah, same thing. You had to make it happen again, and yeah, obviously Richard was there the whole way, made it hard for me. So I was pushing, and you never know how close they are. So I think I took the lap record then. So yeah, over the moon.
Well, can Mitch Rees make it the clean sweep? The Robert Holden Memorial when we come back. Well, this is the one that they've all come to see. This is the Wanganui Auto Wreckers Wanganui Heavy Towing Robert Holden Memorial. And it's decided on lap time, so we've got 600cc machines, we've got F1 machines, we've got Supermoto machines, we've got F3 machines in the field. But the ones that will be doing all the damage at the front. Look out for number C, that is Richard Cooper. Look out for number L in the distinctive pink helmet, that is Lee Johnson. And of course, watch out for the 62 of Mitch Rees. He's been unbeatable so far in the F1s. So watch for Rees down on the inside. Cooper alongside him. Then it is number 2, that's Scott Moyer. He had his pocket picked last year by Peter Hickman. And alongside of Moyer, it is the 92, and that is Damo Rees. The lights go out, we get racing in the best of the starts. Looks like like it's come from 62. No, it isn't. It's the C, Richard Cooper. And going right from the outside to the inside of the track is Damon Rees. And in fact, he nearly cut off his brother as they go through the Mars Pet Care turn. So Richard Cooper, well, he's done what he set out to do by his finish in the second of the F1 races. He's taken the F1 Series title, but he would love to add to the mantelpiece at home the Robert Holden Memorial. He's in the position to do it at the moment, although Damon Rees has snuck right up onto the back of the Sloane Frost Suzuki. And that's his brother, and we ride with him here. That's Mitch as they work their way into the trade zone turn, chasing down his younger brother Damon. But it's Cooper out in the front. Once again, you see the different lines. He hugs the inside of, or the outside of the turn, I should say, before he lines up the Bridgestone overbridge, does the C. We're looking at the back of the Suzuki now, looking at Damon Rees. Then we cut to the outside shot. All just things getting a little bit untidy under brakes as they go through the Gilmore Homes turn 1 for Richard Cooper. But he stays in the front of the field. On board here with Damon Rees, trying to close up the gap between himself and the Englishman. And then it's Mitch Rees in behind him. And then I think it would be Scotty Moyer. Scotty Moyer, as I said, had his pocket picked. Maybe he celebrated too soon last year and he was pipped by Peter Hickman. Hickman became only the second international rider to win the Robert Holden Memorial since its inception. The other rider is Dan Stouffer from Australia. So we're on board here with Damon Rees looking out the back toward his older brother. And he's getting perilously closer to Richard Cooper, and he passes him as they come over the Bridgestone overbridge. Well, that was a daring move, but it's worked for Damo Rees, so the 92 goes into the front. Cooper back into second place. Then it's Mitch Rees, and they've all closed up because Scott Moyer is in this battle as well. That's him on bike number 2, and that is the Suzuki New Zealand CD Vandermeer Builders GSXR 1000. So along Taupo Key they go once again. The race leader is number 92. C. Cooper closes up the gap, but so too does Mitch Rees. Riding here with Cooper looking out the back of the Suzuki and watching the handling of Mitch Rees' Rees Motorcycles Honda. There is nothing in this, and there's plenty of laps left to run. It's the most prestigious trophy, other than the New Zealand Championship, on the New Zealand calendar. It's the Robert Holden Memorial. And did I see Damo Rees make a little bit of a mistake? I think I did, because Cooper's going to come round the outside of him, and Rees takes it straight back. Well, he just ran a little bit wide coming out of Robert Holden. Cooper passed, or tried to pass, couldn't get it done, and Damo Rees goes back in the front. Mitch Rees now under some intense pressure from Scott Moyer. This is a battle further down through the field. In fact, this is just outside the top 10. Jordan Burley in front of Tarbin Walker. Remember the Robert Holden Memorial brought to you by Wanganui Auto Wreckers and Heavy Towing Wanganui. Decided on lap times if you're one of the fastest riders, whether it be Supermoto, Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, Bears, you get to be in the field. There is Jordan Burley, there is Tarbin Walker, and number 294 is Stephen Bridge on the Ducati. So Bridge has got through from the Bears. Tarbin Walker's probably done it through the F1, and Jordan Burley would have done the same. Up into the Robert Holden turn they go once again. Walker in front for the moment. Back to the front of the field, 92, just extending a little bit. That is Damon Rees. Richard Cooper comes straight back at him though as they work through the Gilmore Homes turn number 1. Mitch Rees in third place. Then we go back to number 2, and that is Scotty Moyer, and these 4 have broken away from the rest of the field. Daniel met him through in 5th, and then Lee Johnson. Along Taupo Key they go once again. This is the part of the circuit where Cooper is fast, because he closes up the gaps as we ride with him here under the Emmets Bridge, heading up towards Robert Holden once again. This is the view from Mitch Rees, currently sitting in third place. Ahead of him it's the Englishman on the Sloane Frost Suzuki, and that is Richard Cooper. Now we're looking out the back of Richard Cooper's Suzuki, looking at Mitch Rees. Just getting tailed off a little bit there is Scotty Moyer. 92 continues to lead it. Cooper again challenges as they head towards the Bridgestone Bridge, but he hasn't got an answer for young Damon Rees at the moment. Damon's been racing in the Australian Superbike Championships in our off-season. He's about to head to England with Shane Richardson to race over there, I guess against Richard Cooper again. Cooper, of course, is the current British Superstock champion. There he is, let us see. He's already clinched the Suzuki International Series by his 2 results today, but the Robert Holden is a standalone. It's the one everyone wants to win, and at the moment it is slowly but surely developing into a 2-horse race, because Damo Rees and Richard Cooper are just starting to put a little bit of daylight between themselves and Mitch Rees. You're on board here with Mitch Rees. You see the elastic starting to snap as they go through the trade zone corner and head towards the Bridgestone Bridge once again. 92 repels all challenges as they come up and over the top again. Little bit of a head shake for the big Honda. Richard Cooper tries to capitalise, can't quite get close enough, and Mitch Rees right back in it. Well, who's going to win this race? You couldn't pick it at the moment. There's laps to run here at Wanganui. It's always an absolute stunner, the Robert Holden Memorial. It certainly lived up to its advanced billing last year when Peter Hickman took the win from Scott Moyer. At the moment, though, it is Damon Rees, the Kiwi, leading the Englishman, and that is Richard Cooper. Cooper has a good long look on the outside as they work their way through the S's. Did he make the pass stick? I don't think he did. You're watching number 62. That's Mitch Rees in third. This is 15, Rogan Chandler. He'd be one of the top 600 riders as he works his way through the crossing. Already picked the title up in the F2 competition this season in the Suzuki International. He's getting ready for the NZSBK Championship. You ride with him here as he works through Robert Holden, the Blue Crew Yamaha rider. Another one that got his start in 125 GPs, also races in historic racing as well. Over the Bridgestone Bridge he comes on. There's a problem out there for the 91, so his race is done. So hasn't gone at all well for some, just parking on the side of the road as the leaders go through. Well, so far so good. They've been lucky with the lap traffic, but maybe that luck's going to change because there are riders coming up that are going, well, not half the pace, but probably a quarter the pace that these four are doing. So back on board here with Mitch Rees as they work their way towards the Bridgestone Overbridge once again. A little bit of daylight between Cooper and Damon Rees as they come up over the top, down past the start-finish line. On board here with Cooper, looking back at Mitch Rees. These three started to break away. Scott Moore just here off the pace for the present time. So this is the last lap. It's put up or shut up time for Damo Rees, for Richard Cooper, for Mitch Rees. And lap riders, are they going to play a part in this one? Number 132 is Dan McKenzie. 42 is Reese Lindsay. The quick boys are coming. Remember, they're racing to the checkered flag. They're not going to be asking for taking prisoners here. All you got to do as a lap rider is hold your line. Diving down to the inside goes Damo Rees, but unfortunately the same thing for Dan McKenzie, and that's balked Damo, and that's allowed Richard Cooper to get into the front. Well, what an opportune time to make the pass. They're running to the checkered flag, and Richard Cooper from Nottinghamshire in the UK is going to win the Robert Holden Memorial by fairly fortuitous circumstances. Number C, Richard Cooper, gets the win, just as his countrymate Peter Hickman did last year. In second place, he'll be gutted with that. That's Damon Rees, and in third place it will be Mitch Rees. Well, they say it was a race of changing fortunes, and it certainly was, but fortune favoured the brave in the form of Richard Cooper. So he takes out the Wanganui Auto Wreckers Heavy Towing Wanganui Robert Holden Memorial for 2019. Damon Rees, you can see it in his body language. He's not happy. He's not happy at all. What a way to lose the most prestigious race in New Zealand. Congratulations, though, to Richard Cooper. He wins the Robert Holden Memorial from Damon and Mitch Rees. Scott Moyer is fourth. Victory celebrations for Richard Cooper. Toby Summers comes over to congratulate him. But let's hear from the man that had the best seat in the house on that pass, and that is Mitch Rees.
It was one of those sort of races that's quite hard because you're the same speed, but you're fast in different areas, so and you can't really make the move happen. So I pretty much just had to follow then, and I was just probably not good enough to make it happen. And yeah, I mean, hey, third's still good. I'm pretty happy. Won the two F1 races in the overall today, and third in the series. So yeah, couldn't be happier.
Damo, I don't know, it just wasn't your day?
I guess not, no. I mean, I've had a good time. It's been a good day, and I rode really well. That's how I think anyway. But yeah, I'm pretty gutted. I can't say I've ever felt this bad coming second place in my life.
Richard, it'd be fair to say you came, you saw, you conquered.
Yeah, it looks that way. To win the overall in race 2 just then was pretty much what I was aiming for. I didn't think it'd be possible to win today. Mitch had some great pace, but in the Robert Holden just then, Damo came out all guns blazing, and I really enjoyed the race. 3/4 of the race distance, I actually lost my front brake due to the nature of the track. I think it just boiled up, and I had to keep pumping the brake on the way into the corner there, and it was a little bit sketchy, but we got to the back markers, and Damo was doing two of them first, and he sort of went to the inside, and I really had no other option than to let it run around the outside, and timed it to perfection really, because I just blocked at the last 2 corners there, and to win the Robert Holden, I think there's only 2 international riders that have done that before, and to do it for Sloan Frost and the guys at TSS Suzuki, Red Baron, I think it's just topped off a pretty awesome holiday.
Well, there's no doubt about that. The man of the series in the F1 was Richard Cooper from Great Britain, but you've got to feel desperately sorry for Damon Rees. He tried everything he had and unfortunately thwarted with a couple of corners still to go. That is it from Wanganui. That is it from the Suzuki International Series for 2019. We look forward to bringing you more next year. Here are the overall situation from all the classes we've covered. In Formula 1, it was Richard Cooper taking the win. In F2, Rogan Chandler. Formula 3 went to Lee Tedman. The Gixxer Cup went to Jesse Stroud. The Bears Senior, Ash Payne, and Junior, Guy Melies.